Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers.
I thank everybody that's involved with this process because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers.
Experience is not about the publisher, it is about us, the authors.
Our next featured author of the hour is the man behind the book, the Dingle Hopper, Blueberry Belly Button Snooter. That is all welcome, Chris Cochrane. Chris Cochrane is an author blessed with an unparalleled imagination that brings enchanting stories to life. His latest masterpiece, The Dingle Hopper, Blueberry Belly Button Snooter, explores a heartwarming journey of two young sisters who stumble upon a mysterious creature, helping them with their shorts. With their father in tow, they embark on an adventure to express their gratitude to this benevolent companion. Nature lover, sports enthusiast, and a fan of fantasy and sci-fi movies and TV shows, Chris Cochrane draws inspiration from the wonders of the world around him. However, it is his family, consisting of his beloved wife, Stephanie, and their four children, and that truly fuels his creative fire. Armed with a bachelor's degree in business, Chris writes to captivate and embracing the joy of creating peculiar and fantastic phrases and creatures that lead his children spellbound. Inspired by his wife, he ventured into the realm of writing, crafting tales that would bring delight to other kids and other children around the globe. Prepare to be swept away into a world of imagination and as you dive into Chris Cochrane's captivating storytelling. With the Dingle Hopper Blue Belly Button Snooter, he invites readers of all ages in a magical journey and beyond, smiling and yearning for more. Let us all welcome Chris Cochrane.
Hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to another Reader's Magnet featured author interview. We are currently live in all of our streaming platforms YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. My name is Kimmy, and I am your host for today. And together with me right now is one of the Reader's Magnet featured authors, here to talk more about his journey as an author and the inspiration behind his book. We have Chris Cochrane, author of the book The Dingle Hopper Blueberry Belly Button Snooter. Hello, Chris. How are you today?
I'm good, Kim. How are you today?
Oh, I'm very, happy and excited to know more about you and your book as well. And I think the best way to start off this interview, Chris, is to introduce yourself to our audience.
Well, hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're at today. Um, my name is Chris Cochrane, and I'm your father of four. During the day, I'm just a average salesman. Um, Once 3 o'clock hits, I am a taxi, Uber service for my four kids, and we're going in and out until 8:30, 9 o'clock. Monday through Saturday, um, and sometimes if I find an inspiration, I try to write it down on my phone or just keep a notebook with me. And
Wow.
married to a beautiful wife since 2008. She's a nurse that's currently working on getting her family nurse practitioner degree. So she's busy doing that, and just a busy family. We love activities, and love the outdoors, and we like a good story here and there. And they're my inspiration to wanting to start to write.
Wow, that's great to hear. You're a dad. You're also doing, writing. You're a great husband and all. It's really amazing how you just juggle things on different, things in life. And, being a dad or a parent doesn't really stop you in, doing your passion, which is also writing. All right. So, Chris, can you show the book to us? Your book is, do you have your book with you?
Yes, well, I have two books to show you today.
Okay.
The first one that came out beginning of this year. It's called the Dingle Hopper Blueberry Belly Button Snooter, and it's a fictional character, like an elf-like, gnome-like, dwarf-like creature. Um, doesn't really exist in the real world, but he does in our hearts, and it's about doing something without asking for anything in return, making friendships, and just being a good person to other people. And um, this particular story was just a inspiration to me, as it really just came from walking into a kid's room, and it's always messy. And when the kids aren't looking, the parents are always picking up, and whether it's myself or my wife Stephanie, who cleaned the rooms, like, I don't know who did it. Could have been the Dingle Hopper Blueberry Belly Button Snooter. And she's like, "What the
Oh.
heck is that?" And I'm like, "I have no idea. I just made it up just now." Um, and she's like, "You need to write that down. At least whatever this thing that you're talking about is, you need to write it down, because man, it's catchy." And
Nice.
it came from just a funny excuse to say something funny that no one understands what it means, to it blossomed into an actual character that we've have grown to love, and just cherish. When we open this book, and
Right.
my kids love this story, and my oldest 13, so yeah, 13, 11, 10, and 7, and my 13-year old has been around since this was just a word, and just love seeing her blossom, and just her eyes sparkle. It's like, I remember this when this was just a saying. Haha. um
Right.
and so that's that book. And then I also have one that just came out towards
Mhm.
the end of October. It's called Castle Forks, and
Okay.
this isn't a children's picture book. This is actually a kind of like a fiction novel, a little bit of fantasy thrown into it. It's a father son adventure,
Mhm.
and it really tells the story of good and evil, and the light, always fending off the darkness. And this one boy just happens to be chosen with his dad to fight in invisible army, but not in the
Mhm.
physical world that we live in, but in the spiritual world, that we can't see, but they're invited to join the fight. And it's basically inspiration on the love of what the father has for a son, and
Mhm.
that they'll do anything to sacrifice their life for their children, no matter what the cost is, just to save them, protect them, and stand in front of them if a bullet's coming their way. And that was really an inspiration to come up with Castle Forks. Was my brother and I had a great relationship with our dad growing up, and he died fairly young, and this was kind of the adventure that I guess allowed him to ride off into the sunset, um, in the end with my mom, so they could still end the story together, and instead of her, in real life, being alone until death. Um, but let's see, this particular story, Castle Forks. I
Mhm.
only had two children at the time I started writing this book, and it was similar to the Dingle Hopper book.
Mhm.
If I had a thought in my head, I would just make a note on a post-it, or a little note in the notes page on my phone. And I actually wrote 90% of the Castle Forks book on my phone, just in the notes tab, just doing this
Wow.
over a couple years. And started with a little chicken scratch here and there, and then
Mhm.
after several rounds of editing over many years, that was 2012, and here we are, 2023, and it's actually a book
Wow.
now. And there was many years of writer's block over that story. I had a
Mhm.
great beginning, had a pretty good ending, but
Mhm.
had a big question mark in the middle. Like, okay, I have a really great beginning, really good
Yeah.
ending. What is the meat and potatoes of this book? And it
Mhm.
just, I did experience writer's block with that.
Mhm.
Many days and nights just trying to think about, okay, what is this adventure about? I know how I start it, I know how I end it. And and then I just started thinking about the positive and negatives, that a person just feels every daily in their life, the highs and low points. And then my imagination just started going, thinking of like Lord of the Rings stories,
Yeah.
the Chronicles of Narnia series. And just my brain started just thinking like, okay, this happens here, there's an adventure here, angels and demons fighting. Okay, I could do this. And several rounds of editing later, and here we got a book.
Nice. It's
And
great. And
so far, I got some reviews coming in, very positive. They're all asking, when's the second book coming out? And I don't know yet. There
wow.
might not be a second book, um, but any writer could always add to the previous
Mhm.
book, because there's nothing short of a person with an imagination. I mean, there's enough bunny trails that a person's mind, goes down every single day, and you're
True.
watching and you're like, squirrel, like what?
Mhm.
And my favorite thing about writing is the ability to like share a story with somebody, and it might not be sweet and pretty all of the time,
Mhm.
but it comes from the heart. It could be funny, it could be sad, could be a little bit of seriousness into it. Um, but everybody has a story, and
Right.
um, if you don't write it down, or in like book form, or make notes about that story in the course of your life and things that you experience, when you're an old person, I mean, you're going to forget everything. And
True.
That's what I became a writer, several years ago, and now I got two published books. My wife told me, "Is like, you have some really funny things, but you have some things that just you need to write them down because one day you're gonna either want to share this with somebody, and you might remember a little bit of it, but you won't remember the whole story, and then it will kind of get lost in translation."
True. Right.
And so then I started taking notes and writing everything down, and it's like now it's like, wow, I actually have a couple stories that are worth reading and sharing with
Hmm.
others. And I hope other people, will take this, a few minutes of just listening to heart, and it's like, you know what, I have a story to tell too, whether it's a nonfiction or fiction, fantasy, but it's something that I like and my friends like. But if I wrote this down, maybe some other people that I don't know, might like it too. And it would just be a good, like a building of a community and additional friendships to come from it. So you
That's
might not
true.
know the
That's true.
person personally, but you would think that after you read one of their books, like, man, I feel like I do know this person, and
Right.
I want to learn more about this person. Like we could become a friend or something, or like, man, I don't really
Mhm.
want to become that person because of this story that they're talking about. But that's
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
We can pick up
Mhm.
the books that we want to learn about, and just bypass the ones that we don't.
Absolutely. I think what I like about what you said, Chris, is that the ideas just come out of the blue and then you write it down and then you start creating stories out of it. Because I think you've mentioned that there's a lot of people who has ideas. It's just that they were not able to like put it in writing and they were not able to share it to the world. And considering that you're also doing fantasy, which is actually my favorite, my favorite genre, and I think it's what really catches the book that you wrote right now. I mean, you published Castle Fork and the other one, um, is really more of like bringing people to a different world, in a world like a lot of a lot of things probably is undermined of whatever they have to do in bills and all that and payments and whatnot. You created books that would actually bring them to a different room where they can just be themselves and probably like, create their own selves as if they are the character. And I really like that. I look forward for also reading the other one that you mentioned, the Castle Fork, as well. And I'm also very amazed, like, you're a dad, you're a parent, and it really shows on your work, in your works. Like, what's really good with writers right now is that, especially you as a writer, you put in your heart in it, as well as your experience. Like you mentioned, you had a very good relationship with your brother and your dad, and you created book that has fantasy and experience or adventures with the father, and you're actually a very good dad right now with your kids. So you created the other book that you've also had for the children, the Dingle Hopper. So it's really amazing. So tell me, if I would ask, how would you? What is really like the best part of being a writer?
The best part about being
Mm-hmm.
the writer is, I would say, what does inspire the person to want to tell their story? Is it good enough to share it with yourself, or is it good enough to share it with somebody else? Because if it's not good enough to share it with yourself, like you're trying to work on a speech and you're practicing in front of the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't do that with yourself, then maybe it's not good enough yet to share it with somebody
Right.
else. And I think that the inspiration is to really not be afraid about what other people think. I mean, sure, there's going to be
Mm-hmm.
some, family and friends that you do value their opinion, and it may not always be positive in the beginning, just because they want you to get those kinks out before it becomes perfect. But if you're working on something and you want to deliver to somebody that you don't know, I mean, it wants it makes you want to be perfect for somebody else because they don't know you, and you really have a first impression, um,
Mm-hmm.
to have a wow factor on that person that you don't know. Um, to want to read more about what you have in the future. So I think
Right.
that's what inspired me was I wanted to share a story, at least in the Castle Forks book, was
Hmm.
a story of just the love and integrity and character that I admired about my dad,
Hmm.
and my brother also shared that, and I kind of wrote it for them, but I also wrote it for me so I could remember here's an adventure that I didn't get to finish with my dad
Hmm.
because he passed away young. But this allows me to share my experience as being the kid and to show my kids like how my dad was as a father and hope that I could somehow strive, you know, to inspire them someday to be that parent for their kid and have their kid look up to them like I looked up to my father.
Wow, that's that's really something. And I also like when you mentioned earlier about your wife was very supportive of you. Like she told you to, write down something. You might probably forget that when you get old and all that. So it really is a foundation. Family is the foundation, and really shows like how you were brought up with your parents, and you're actually helping out your kids right now, like being an Uber for them for school and all. So it's I really feel it because I'm also a parent. Um, so I really feel like my husband is also doing that for my kids, and it really shows that your writings, the way or your disposition in life is really important in creating a masterpiece like this. And to conclude our interview, Chris, anything that you would like to, probably give a piece of advice for inspiring writers out there who would also like to create or produce a book?
Well, if you're trying to create or produce a book, um, first off, write your idea down. When you have that idea, like run to the other room or ask somebody for a piece of paper or a pen. Write that down. Keep that idea at least on paper so you can get back to it later. Because if you don't, I mean, you're never gonna find that exact thing that just came across your mind in the spirit of the moment. And you're like always, man, what was that thing? What was that thing? It was a great idea, and y-
True.
I I could believe that many of the great writers that I fell in love with their books, like J.R.R. Tolkien. I mean, I've
Yep.
read several of his books, and C.S. Lewis, him as
Mm,
well, and I like to think that they had a notebook with them 24/7 by the nightstand or piece of paper in their back pocket. If they had a D in the hand, they had to write it down.
right.
And I would think to any person who is wanting to tell a story someday, or just has
Mm,
an amazing imagination, don't forget to
right.
write something down when you're at the spirit of the moment. Because it's important. You can always come back to it later, but you need that idea at least concrete on
True.
paper.
That's correct. And I
And
also, yes, go ahead.
no, that was it. That was it.
All right, and it's also very evident on your works that you're inspired with this amazing writers, fantasy writers, and people who, or writers, always say authors who created such great books. And right now you're doing your own, and I'm also looking forward for people to be inspired by your works, as they be able to grab a copy of your books. You can actually show your books right now, Chris, and you can also invite our viewers to get a grab a copy. So there.
Sorry, this the screen right here isn't the best. I'm trying to. Okay, here we go. So Castle Forks and the Dingle Hopper Blueberry Belly Button Snooter. They are available, obviously, Amazon and Barnes and Noble websites, as well as my personal author website, ccochranebooks.com. Also, Young Bookworms in Colorado Springs, little children's bookstore. It's an amazing place. My book, the Dingle Hopper, is on the shelf there, and soon to be Castle Forks, as well as Toy Box in Eureka, California. It's actually physically on the shelf. If you want a copy, go ahead to there. In the near future, grab a copy. And also on my books, they will be available in the next couple months at some local book fairs. If you guys are in the London in March, I will personally be there to sign a book copy for you.
Wow.
So get your copy there, as well as the LA Times Festival books coming out in April. I will be there as well to sign up either the Dingle Hopper book or Castle Forks. Be happy to see you guys and answer any questions you guys may have when I see you there in the next couple months.
Wow, amazing. So we look forward to see you in person, Chris, in London Book Fair, as well as in LA Times, right, for next year. So there's a lot
Yes.
that is stored for you next year with Reader's Magnet, and we're really happy to have you here. So everyone, that's Chris Cochrane, author of the book The Dingle Hopper Blueberry Belly Button Snooter and Castle Forks. Okay, the other one. All right, there. You may grab a copy, as what Chris mentioned. It's Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Also on his personal email. I'm sorry, personal website at C Cochrane Books. Is that it? Okay, .com. And there's a lot as well. And you can also be able to have him see you in person and sign as well the books. That's in London Book Fair as well as in LA Times. Again, thank you so much for your time, Chris. We really appreciate it. And as we say here at Reader's Magnet, we share your story with the world. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chris, for your time.
Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers.
I thank everybody involved with this process because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers.
Experience is not about the publisher, it is about us, the authors.
Hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to another Reader's Magnet featured author interview. My name is Mark, and I'm going to be your host for today. And together with me is one of the Reader's Magnet featured author interview. So, to talk more about his book and his journey as an author, please help me welcome Chris Cochrane. Hi, Chris. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Mark. Appreciate the
Thank
invite.
you. Yeah, thank you so much. Actually, it is us who needs to thank you for attending our interview today, and we're so happy to have you here. And we're so glad that you chose our platform, Readers Magnet, to share your story with the world. And personally, I'm really, really excited to talk with you right now and to have this interview with you because I just can't wait to know more about you and the book. But before all of that, Chris, can you please introduce yourself?
Well, first off, my name is Chris Cochrane.
Hmm.
Loving father of beautiful wife Stephanie and 4 amazing kids, Scotty, Shea, Caleb, and Jonna. And just a everyday salesman in the world of trying to make ends meet for your family, and a storyteller outside of work. just come up with funny scenarios for the kids and funny things to say. Just try to always get a little chuckle or joke out of something. And then one day my wife's just like, maybe you should start writing some of this stuff down because this is pretty funny. And someday you're going to be old and we won't remember any of this if you don't somehow document it. So I started my writing when I only had 2 kids, and I've written several books since then. I only have this one currently published, Dinglehopper Blueberry Belly Button Snooter. Pretty nifty, catchy phrase and also character in the book. Just it's all about family and friendship, and that's something that we instill in our family and kids at home in their everyday lives. So it's just something that we just take to heart and figure I'd put some pen to paper and create something funny and also every family could kind of relate to.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Chris. Now, I'm really, really excited and curious about this title. I'm really intrigued about the title, The Dingle Hopper Blueberry Belly Button Snooter. It's kind of a mouthful. Or yeah. So, what inspired, and can you walk us through about the idea of making up this title?
Well, this particular title, again, I'll kind of put it in front of the face so you can see it. This inspiration actually came up with just a funny slogan, come back to the wife. She's like, do you know where this thing is? Do you know what that thing is? What happened to that one thing that was on this one table? I'm like, well, I think it was taken by who? I'm like, well, the Dinglehopper Blueberry Velvet Suitor took it. And she's like, what the heck is that? I'm like, I don't know what it is. I just came up with it just now. and,
Yeah.
and that funny saying just kind of created a character. Went through several different artists on like freelancer websites, and I found this amazing artist out of Europe. Her name is Indre Ta. Amazing person, incredible story, and she was able to help me bring this character to life. And kind of created a friendship amongst me and this character out of thin air, and also to my kids, because they always heard me talking about this thing, and then they're finally able to see it in a book. I'm like, oh, so that's what this thing is that you've been talking about for years. And here my oldest is 13 now, and she was just a couple years old when I created the story, and I had her create a similar character when she was really little, and actually was very similar to this character that was brought to life in this book. So it's definitely very personable for me and my family, and also this growing process of my kids and this character.
All right. Wow. So basically, the book is a children's book. Can you share with
Yes.
Can you share with us the let's say the context of this book? What is the story all about?
Well, the context is there's always things that kids wonder, like when the parents tell them to do something, like, if you don't make your bed, the boogeyman's gonna take something, when you're sleeping or something like that. So maybe the kids are imagining these things that the parents are saying, and then kind of take them to heart to be a realistic thing. So a kid might have a messy room, whereas in this book, there's a messy room, and the kids don't really know who's picking up the room. It's not the mom, it's not the dad. At least they say it's not them. The dad's like, oh, I know who it is. It's the Dinglehopper Blueberry Belly Button Snooter. And they're like, yeah, we know it's you, Dad. We know it's Mom, when we're not in the room. But this book kind of brings that statement to life and showing that there's somebody helping the parents that the kids don't ever see. And the mom doesn't see. So the mom's thinking the dad's cleaning, the dad's thinking the mom's cleaning, but it's something else.
All right. So now, can you please bring back your book again, Chris, and then
Yes.
show the audience about the book cover? I'm really curious about this book cover. Is that the Dinglehopper Blueberry Belly Button Snooter? Do we have a
Yes.
small, like a shortcut name for this thing, or what is he inspired of? Is he an animal or a small person, or what is that?
Well, he's a fictional character. I mean, he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
really exist. He would fall in line with Bigfoot and
All right.
unicorns, and the Loch Ness monster, where some people think they saw something, but they weren't quite sure. Um, could be just a figment of your imagination. Because kids are amazing storytellers. They have quite an imagination, and that's how a lot of these stories are brought to life. That's how a lot of incredible, books were written, in the past and current and even future that haven't been written yet. So, would you like to see a picture of what this character looks like?
I mean, if that won't, spoil us, then
If
you're always welcome.
maybe it will, maybe it won't. Um,
Or maybe
this
just describe the character to us.
okay.
That would be great. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, this character is a kind of like a wooded creature. He lives out in the woods. He has big, hairy feet, kind of like a hobbit does, but he's not human. And he could be an ogre, could be a gnome, but he looks friendly. He likes to smile a lot and joke around. So he's definitely
Mm-hmm.
not a scary character to adults or even children. So this is a very family friendly character that everybody could grow to like and love. And there's several
Okay.
other adventures that he will go on in the future after this one.
All right. Wow. So I'm really curious to know, Chris. Why is this character doing this? I mean, why is he helping the children or the family cleaning all of this? And then, is there a lesson that we are going to learn from this book?
Well, this particular character is always looking for friends.
Mm.
And usually to make a friend, you need to like do something nice, not to being able to do like a trade, like I give you money, you give me a piece of candy back. He has a good heart and he's willing to help people that need help and hopes that maybe a friendship will come out of it, because they know that he's not looking for something in return.
Oh, okay. So, what do you want your readers to take away after reading this book?
That it's okay to have an imagination, um, as a person.
Mhm.
You don't just have to think of scary things. You could have funny things that you think of that kind of turn into something such as heartwarming as the Dinglehopper Blueberry Belly Button Snooter. I mean, he does have a name, but you're gonna have to read about it in the book to see what his actual name is and what the nickname that the family gives him. Um, it's just a very heartwarming story, and there's lots more to come. And this book in particular is just introducing this character with the
Mhm.
family, and then you kind of grow into future friendships and adventures down the road, which we will see in the next coming books, maybe in a year or so.
Wow. So, are we expecting a sequel from this book?
I'm expecting several sequels. I've already written. This is book one. I've written already books 2, 3, 4, and 5
Wow.
over the last several years. This book was actually written when my oldest was not quite 2.5 yet. So it was many years ago. It just took me that long to find an artist that shared the same vision as I did to create the character.
Wow. Wow. Now, I want to know, Chris. Wait, I forgot my question. Yeah. So,
It's
I was
okay.
going to ask. Is there a favorite line from the book that you want to share to our audience right now from the book
Favorite line. Okay.
that gives this big boost about what the book is all about and the purpose of this book?
Oh yes, 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 yes. Okay. Well, there's actually it's 2 quick pages, so I'll just read this.
Sure,
Say,
we'd love to hear that.
Dad loved to make them laugh at silly things, and he always made up imaginary stories. So Caroline and Olivia thought the Dinglehopper Blueberry Belly Button Snooter was just another one of his funny stories. As I was saying earlier. That was until one day Dad told them something surprising. I've seen the Dinglehopper Blueberry Belly Button Snooter, he said. Well, I saw part of him anyways. He kept hiding behind the trees. And that's just a little snake.
Wow.
There's more, but there's just
Yeah.
some little teaser right there.
Well, thank you so much for that, Chris. I think, yeah, as me, if I put myself like as a child right now, I think I'm very, very curious about the book. It's really encouraging me to know more about the story, and then I'm sure the kids will love it too. Thank you for sharing everything about the book, Chris. Now, for my last question, do you have like a something that you want to promote to us right now, or an event that you are going to attend soon? It is the perfect time for you to share that.
Let's see. Well, my book's going to be at a couple book fairs through September of this year, but there is one particular book fair coming up in September 9th and 10th in Chicago. It's the Printers Row Lit Fest. It's a 2-day event. I believe it's 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. And I will be attending both days, but the second day there is a 1-hour book signing for my book, and I will be in person signing on the day 2 of that event.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Chris. Oh, is there anything else?
Yes, and in the meantime, if they can't make it to the event, my book is available on Amazon.com as well as Barnes and Noble, and also I have a website, C Cochrane. So just first initial C, last name Cochrane. So ccochranebooks.com.
All right, thank you so much, Chris.
You're welcome.
Now, all right. I have asked all of the questions I prepared for you today, and this concludes our interview. Again, so that is Chris Cochrane, everyone, the author of the book, The Dinglehopper Blueberry Belly Button Snooter. Again, his book is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and you can also visit his website, that is www.ccochranebooks.com. Again, that is www.ccochranebooks.com. Again, thank you so much, Chris. As we say it here at Reader's Magnet, we share your story with the world. Thank you so much. Bye, Chris.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers.
I thank everybody that's involved with this process because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers.
Experience is not about the publisher, it is about us, the authors.